Good evening. Welcome to Wolfe County High School for Wolves Esports action. Today's matchup features your Wolves Blue versus Henry Clay. So our Wolves Blue is undefeated now at 14-2 after we had some changes to the record last week. We had a team actually issue a forfeit against, so we're now undefeated, 14-0. Just wanted to let everybody know why it says 14-0 after we had two losses there last week. So we're going to check in with our champ select here and see how our champions are coming along. Looks like we got from Henry Clay a Kennan, Nasus, and a Vane ban. And from Wolves Blue, we got a Katrina, Rek'Sai, and a Brand ban. So the first round of bans there is complete. All right. Now this Henry Clay bunch is ranked number, let's see, what were they ranked here? Third in the state. So this is a huge matchup here between two of the top teams in the state. They're 12-2 on the season. All right, and a Darius pick to Henry Clay, coming out of the gate strong with a good top laner. And our Wolves Blue is going to go with a Sivir pick. Okay. And up next for your Wolves Blue, it looks like a Jarvan pick. Yep. Both teams really dragging this one out, taking extra time to make their champ select. Big stakes here for placement as we enter the last week of season next week. And a V pick? A Vi? And a Vigar pick. Okay. And a Xerath pick for Wolves Blue. So now they get a chance to ban two more champs. Let's see who they decide to go with here. A Jhin ban. So both teams looks like have done their homework and really scouted each other. It's going to make for a great matchup. Henry Clay coming in with a Jax ban. And the final Wolf ban goes to Leona. And a Yorick ban.
It's your funeral.
Fourth pick for Wolves Blue is a Aurelia. And Henry Clay taking their time to pick their next champion. Kaisa, is that right? Mm-hmm. Oh, and a Braum pick, and looks like a potential Alistar pick. And they have locked in their choices. So this is your matchup between Wolves Blue and Henry Clay. We'll be back in just a second to talk about these matchups some more. In the meantime, let's take a look at our starting lineup. For your Wolves Blue for spring 2019, we've got Cody Sargent in the top lane, senior Cody Sargent. And in the bot lane running ADC is senior Jarrett White. In his support is junior Jeremy McKinney. In the jungle, we have junior Cameron Caskey. And in the mid lane, we have senior Brendan Bush. So this is your Wolves Blue for spring 2019. We also want to take this time to thank our wonderful esports sponsors, Appalachian Wireless, Mountain Telephone, Licking Valley Rural Electric, Farmers and Traders Bank of Campton, Whitaker Bank of Campton, and Sweet Art by Stephanie of Campton, Kentucky. Okay, let's go back here to our champion selection. We're getting ready to enter in our 3-minute delay phase. So, guys, I'll let you go ahead and talk about our matchup here.
One thing a lot of people who've been watching this might notice specifically is the mid laner for Wolfe County Blue, Brendan Bush, picking up Xerath. This is the first time he'll be taking Xerath into a match like this. He's been playing him a lot in his solo queue games as well as with his friends off in practice, but this will definitely be the first time he's taken him into a play versus match. So Xerath's really well known for being the longest rage mage in the game, going to have extremely high amount of damage as well as being just that extreme range too. Needing people like Vi and Kai'Sa to engage on Xerath will be the biggest bet to have Henry Clay do well against him. Darius versus Irelia top lane. Irelia is pretty well known to be a hard counter to Darius. If Irelia gets that early lead on Darius, she'll put him behind a pretty good matchup. Vi versus Jarvan's and it is a toss up on itself. Those two champs are pretty evenly matched in how they gank and how they play, so it'll be an interesting matchup there. Kai'Sa versus Sivir is a little more lenient towards Kai'Sa, at least for the early to mid game. Sivir's known for having a very strong late game between the two of them, as well as if she can benefit from using that spell shield to block a good portion of Braum's CC as well as Kai'Sa's W. She might be able to take that early advantage away from Kai'Sa and just go ahead and get an easier lead. And then Alistar versus Braum both being heavy tanks that are great at CCing the ADCs, so it'll be a good matchup between the two teams.
One thing that I'm not familiar with, I don't play mid lane very much, but is it traditional for Veigar to take teleport, or is that something a little bit?
Usually Veigars will take teleport. They're more of they have a little more control in the mid lane, so they'll have a tendency to take teleport more. People like Orianna and overall control mages mid lane are pretty well known to take teleport to have that lane dominance.
Which in the most recent patch, didn't they increase the teleport timer a little bit?
I think they might have. It might get.
I think it went up to 6 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, I think
Cooldown,
so.
Which is quite a long time. So if they can bait out those teleports pretty well, they can shut down Veigar from being able to go all over the map.
Yeah.
And Darius taking Ghost, I think is that something a little bit newer since the recent patch?
Darius Ghost is that's the generally recommended thing that a lot of people play on Darius. A lot of people also, teleport tops a pretty commonplace thing. Ignite on Darius works well too with his passive hemorrhage. It just gives that extra bleed damage over time, so it makes a crazy amount of damage with his passive. But Ghost does work pretty well with the way that his W works with slowing them, and also it just works well with his kit.
Yeah, it looks like the Henry Clay team took a lot of CC on this. Veigar, Vi, and even Darius has a little bit of CC himself.
Yeah.
And then they have two pretty good tanks, and then Darius, depending on how you build him, can be a bruiser. So I think it'll be a hard front line to have to get through to get back to that Veigar and Kai'Sa back line.
Yeah. And now we're going ahead and load into the game. The delay is now down as we will load in to see how the game progresses. Seems like the The client's acting a little buggy. It still says 0%. It should load in pretty soon. Yeah, it's not frozen. And we are now loaded into the map. All the champs are now spawning in their respective fountains, waiting for the timer to go down as they can leave and go to their respective positions. Champions have now left the fountain and are moving to their respective locations. We see the. We'll also take a sec to point out that Wolfe County has started on red side, so Henry Clay will be on the blue. We see Vigar moving towards bot side jungle to protect that pixel brush towards bot. Xerath moving also. Alistar, Sivir, and Jarvan sitting towards their blue buff. Or no, actually Jarvan going up top lane towards his red buff with the aid of Irelia, waiting to ward that pixel brush as Darius goes to do the same. Trying to go for that early ward. See Kai'Sa and Braum moving back into the jungle side, going back towards campus. Irelia and Jarvan move toward that bush. As Jarvan places the ward in it, Darius sitting in the bush still. Vi and Braum push back up towards their red buff, waiting as it to spawn. Kai'Sa following suit as the minions now move towards lane. In a minute now, the jungle's buffs will spawn and the game will begin. And here they are, red buff spawning now as blue buff also spawns. We see Jarvan and Irelia going for the top lane red buff as Kai'Sa, Braum, and Vi go for the bot side red buff. Both secure their buffs without any problem. We see Braum and Kai'Sa moving down the lane now as Sivir and Alistar get a couple CS early lead from that without the need of having to assist with the leash there. Irelia moving into the lane with Darius. Both sides trading pretty evenly at this point. Nothing going on in this early game. Sivir managed to land a Q there. See Irelia being a little aggressive in the top lane. Good start for Wolfe County's top laner, knowing that Irelia can be pretty aggressive against Darius. Jarvan moving into top side, might be going for an early level 2 gank as he goes to Tribush past top lane. No, he might be going for the invade into the jungle. As he saw Vi going into his, he's going for that counter jungle. Good play there on Wolfe County. Going for that counter gank. We see Sivir taking a Q from Braum. Managed to throw a Q herself, connecting. We see Irelia going with that stun, landing on Darius, as Darius manages to land a W. Hitting the Q, but not getting able to connect, as Irelia just keeps going down, bursting him. She manages to take 3 stacks of hemorrhage from his passive, but manages to still out-trade him pretty hefty. Irelia, a really strong counter for Darius, like I said earlier. We see Vigar and Vi moving towards jungle now, as they go to try and stop the Jarvan from getting the securing Rift Scuttlecrab, but he's managed to secure it way too early for them to do anything about it. He moves back towards his jungle side now. Xerath pushed pretty heavily in the mid lane, not having to worry about anything though for an early gank, as Vi's already up in her top side jungle, closer towards top lane, trying to get the Gronk, yeah. Sivir and Alistar now push back slightly in lane, trying to let that wave push up. Alistar getting hit by a Braum Q, followed up by a Kai'Sa W. Some decent trades there from Henry Clay. Xerath and Vigar trading in mid lane. Xerath being able to take that massive range advantage into his favor by just poking down Vigar little by little. Lanes are now pushed. Xerath still remains pretty heavy pushed up in mid lane, backing off a little bit as Alistar and Sivir push back under their side. We see Vi now going for her Raptor camp in her jungle as Vi pushes up his mid lane a little bit. Irelia falling back a little bit in her lane as Darius manages to push up. Missing an E, getting connected, missing her E, meanwhile tanking a Darius Q and E, as well as an auto attack, getting 3 stacks of hemorrhage put onto her by Darius. Bot lane pushed up slightly. Sivir and Alistar just staying back, farming pretty safely. Vi now backed into her fountain as Jarvan goes back to his bot side jungle to take some farm. He goes and secures Wolfcam, now moving down towards mid lane, or towards bot side jungle. Potentially looking for that Scuttle Crab, which hasn't spawned in yet, going to drop a ward. Jarvan now moving towards bot side, might be looking for the first gank of the game. Jarvan going into the bush as Kai'Sa and Braum back off slightly. They might be seeing the Jarvan coming in. Vi moving also towards bot side jungle, preparing for that counter gank. Aurelia going, landing the stun on Darius, going with the Q, landing connected, getting pulled by the Darius, getting Q'd again, taking 4 hemorrhage stacks, getting hit by that 5th. Darius managing to get an auto attack off. Is she going to die from the hemorrhage? As she dies to the hemorrhage, taking first blood to Darius. A little rough there. Managed to, not the best trade. She was a little underprepared when she went in on that engage, but Darius just came out victorious on that as well. So not the best trade in the world for them. Xerath landing another Q with an E as well. A couple auto attack trades onto Veigar. We see Alistar now going in, landing the smack on. We see Jarvan with the EQ combo missing the knockup on Braum as Alistar goes in with the ignite, forcing Kai'Sa to heal as Braum flashes away. Vi also coming in a little too late to be able to contribute anything to that fight. Decent trade from Wolfe County there, managing to force all those summoner spells down bot lane out of Henry Clay. Xerath going for another Q there, managing to miss it as he goes to hit his W on Veigar. Jarvan and Vi both move towards mid lane, preparing for anything that might be going on. Aurelia back in the top side as Darius now is able to back. Let's go ahead and check the farm real quick while there's nothing major going on. We see that Aurelia and Darius are pretty even in the top lane. We see Jarvan with a couple CS lead in the jungle. Mid lane pretty even, slightly in favor of Veigar. Early lead wise, Veigar's going to have a little bit of a farm lead over Xerath for sure. Bot lane as well. Both sides farming fairly evenly, within at least 5 to 10 CS in all lanes, respectively. So, good CS on both sides here. Jarvan goes and just secures his Raptor camp in top side jungle. Darius now back into lane as Aurelia is able to farm into her side of the lane without any hesitation. We see looked like a flash from Kai'Sa. We see a Kai'Sa flash. Interesting. I don't see why she would need to flash there, but nonetheless, it was a flash from Kai'Sa down in bot lane. We see the W from Aurelia on the top side trying to secure an extra farm. Not wanting to miss anything. Jarvan goes to secure his red buff in top side again and smites it to secure it. He now moves over towards top side, going through Tribush, warded with a control ward from Aurelia. He moves up towards top side as Aurelia dashes in, managing to miss the stun. Jarvan coming in from the side, getting pulled by Aurelia, dashing to the side, dodging. We see an Aurelia ult go in on Darius. Darius managed to get his 5 hemorrhage stacks on her, as well as on Jarvan. We see Darius flashing in, coming from the side. Jarvan forced to flash too. Aurelia ulted by Jarvan, or by Draven, Darius, who gets the kill, but Jarvan's able to trade back and secure the kill back as well. So a 1-for-1 trade, both top laners getting killed in the process. Both flashes from Darius and Jarvan being taken in that fight too. Not really a clear winner on who won that fight. So at least there was a little bit of action, at least for the first part of the game. We see Xerath now moving back to lane. Veigar now farming under his tower, trying to get a turret plating. He'll be able to probably accomplish that without it. Yep, he'll manage to secure a turret plating without any resistance as Xerath now moves towards his past his second tier tower. We see Vi now taking her blue buff in the top side jungle. Darius moving back into lane as well. Kai'Sa coming up to lane as well as Braum managing to hold off the Sivir and Alistar from pushing out too far in lane. Decent defensive play there from Braum, managing to hold him back. As Kai'Sa and Alistar now back off. Maybe looking to back now to trade in that gold for some items. As Jarvan takes his red buff. We see a Xerath stun missed, as well as the W hit, managing to walk back into the stun for some reason, for some weird reason, managing to get hit by a Veigar W. Veigar now backs up under his tower. You see Jarvan attempting to go for an early Drake there, but decided immediately to back off because there's vision onto it as Kai'Sa lands a W on it. Veigar now teleporting into mid lane as Jarvan goes through mid lane back towards bot side. We see him EQ over the wall, getting auto-attacked from Vi as she just keeps chasing. We see a stun from Xerath managing to land as Veigar follows up, but Vi is going to decide to back off and not engage any further. Alistar now moving back towards lane through bot side jungle as Kai'Sa and Braum push up pretty heavily. Darius and Aurelia topside trading, farming pretty easily. without no resistance from each other. Vigar now pushed back under his turret as Alistar and Sivir now push back up in lane slightly, where they were a minute ago. Jarvan coming in from the backside. Alistar taking some minion aggro there for that healing. Braum missing a Q as Jarvan and Sivir and Alistar push up towards. We see a pull missed from Darius on the top side as Xerath manages to land a Q as well as a W, throwing that stun, connecting it with a Q combo. We see a W connecting with Xerath. We see the ult from Xerath mid, managing to hit the first, missed the second, and he's going to go for the hit the third as Jarvan comes in with the QW or the QE combo and ult to secure the kill on Jarvan or on Vigar. Some would say that was pretty unnecessary, him having to do all that just for the Vigar, who was pretty much guaranteed to kill, but nonetheless, it was a kill secure from the jungler for Wolfe County. Jarvan now moving up towards top side with some vision being put down by Darius, forcing Jarvan to back off. We see Sivir now farming fairly easily in the bot lane. Xerath pushed up mid lane, going to try and take his first turret plating. He's going to be able to secure that without a problem. Alistar and Sivir push back slightly in lane, trying to let away, push up, and Kai'Sa W thrown there, connecting with Alistar. We see Vi dashing in from mid lane here, ulting Xerath. Xerath proccing his shield, which manages to take a good portion of that damage. So very little damage done there from Vi with the after managing to land that ulti on him. So good play there on Xerath. We see a pull landed on Aurelia. We see Aurelia with the ulti, 5 procs of Hemorrhage pulled onto Aurelia from Darius. Darius is going to chase, but decides to back off as Aurelia goes to drop control ward down top side. Another Q from Braum and a W from Kai'Sa connecting with Alistar there. Bot lane's been a very passive lane this game, surprisingly enough. Especially with those two engaging supports that they have. You would think that something would have happened by now, but nonetheless, it's still some good plays down bot lane. More defensive than offensive, but anyway, Vi now going to the bot side jungle for Jarvan, planning to get some jungle camps. Vigar also down there, moving towards the river now as he goes to back up towards mid lane, seeing the control ward, going to go ahead and clear that. We see Xerath and Jarvan now moving towards bot side river, now as Vigar and Vi move through past to Vi's bot side river, or bot side jungle. Really now moving up to lane as Vi moves through mid lane up to her top side jungle and go clear for some camps as she goes for Wolfe camp. Bot lane pushed up pretty heavily on Henry Clay, and Wolfe K now getting back to lane, managing to push it back off. We see Aurelia managing to land a Q. We see a Q connecting from Darius as Aurelia lands a stun as well as getting a double dash. We see the triple dash. We see the flash from Aurelia as well as another auto attack to secure the kill on Darius. So good engage there from Aurelia, managing to take a little bit of damage from the Darius passive, but nonetheless managing to come out victorious on that trade. So good play there on Cody from Wolfe County. The Q connecting. We see the exhaust. Braum ulting as Kai'Sa manages to get some auto attacks off. Sivir forced to flash, missing, but as Braum secures the kill on Sivir with that Q. A lot of damage there from both sides, but Braum getting that kill definitely did not help their situation down in bot lane. Alright, let's go ahead and check the farm real quick as we see top laners are even now in farm as mid lane or junglers doing pretty close. Xerath down about 15 CS mid versus Vigar, which isn't the best of the world, as well as Sivir being down about 15 CS bot lane. We see Vigar throwing a stun out there to try and avoid any confrontation from Aurelia or Jarvan. Managing to do pretty successful, landing a Q there on Jarvan. Pretty big damage. We see Jarvan coming with a dash, ulting over. We see the Xerath managing to secure the kill on Vigar with that long-range Q. But Vigar managing to take the kill also on Jarvan with all that tower aggro as well, not really helping. So, decent trade from Wolfe County. The score is currently now 4-4 with a 1,000 gold lead in favor of Henry Clay. Towers are still up on both sides as well. Go back to farm real quick. Kai'Sa has about a 20 CS lead bot lane. Vigar with about a 10 CS lead mid lane. Aside from that area of the lane, pretty much even. Braum and Kai'Sa move into the bot side river. Going to try and get rid of some vision that Wolfe County has. Vigar and Vi now move up in lane. Vigar moving towards mid lane. Vi moving towards her bot side jungle. Irelia and Darius again top lane doing some pretty slow trading. The wave pushing in favor of Irelia up towards tower. We see a Xerath W there on some minions. As Braum pushes upside river, or up towards bot side river, backing off for with the excessive amount of vision. I would say the vision score is heavily in favor of Henry Clay at this point towards bot side. They have a lot more vision of it, at least at that point. There are a couple of pretty good wards placed from Wolfe County, one over the Dragon Pit as well as the one towards bot side river, or bot side bush. Vigar managed to get a pretty heavy amount of damage there on Jarvan, and that stun as well as that WQ combo on him with just a crazy amount of damage. As Henry Clay secures the Scuttle Crab for that extra vision. Or no? Yeah, they got it. The color's backwards. We see Jarvan now pushed in bot lane, having to stay away from what was the Vi and Vigar now towards it in his jungle now, managing to push out, seeing that they're out of his jungle. Xerath landing a Q there on Vigar. Irelia getting some pretty easy farm in the top lane. Irelia going with the stun, missing the stun, but still in there, engaging on Darius. She goes to the Irelia ulti, a couple dashes with a 5 stacks of hemorrhage, but that's not going to be enough to save Darius as Irelia manages to win that trade without any problems whatsoever. Even her missing that stun, her coming out victorious, just shows how much of a one-sided fight this is going to be top lane if things keep going the way they do in favor of Wolfe County. Some heavy pushing top lane from Cody Sargent as he manages to take tower down, almost half health. We see Sivir and Alistar holding their own bot lane as Jarvan goes up top to aid in the push. This might be going for first tower now out of the game. Yes, they're going to secure Wolfe County takes first tower top lane. So now the score is the gold is now almost even with about a 200 to 300 gold difference. Wolfe County now having the first tower of the game. It's currently 16.5 minutes. As we also see Jarvan and Irelia going towards Rift Herald. They might be going for that early Rift Herald. That would definitely be a huge advantage in their favor, getting that extra pushing power. We see Sivir and Alistar moving towards bot side as Kai'Sa and Braum move towards Dragon Pit. Looked like they were maybe going to engage. Oh, wait, we see Xerath coming with the follow-up. We see Jarvan, Irelia, and Xerath, all three now going for that Rift Herald. Darius coming from the side. We see a dash in from Vi. Braum, and a flash shield from Xerath as Vi ults Xerath. Xerath throwing a W there. Jarvan securing the kill, helping out and saving the Xerath as Irelia kills Darius. So a good trade there on Wolfe County as well, getting that Rift Herald too. So a very good fight there from Wolfe County. Xerath landing that Q, just doing a crazy amount of damage on Vigar in the mid lane when landing it. We see Xerath now spawning the Rift Herald almost immediately after getting it mid lane. Gonna go and try for that second tower now as he goes to in his lane, as he now goes to back. Irelia now pushed up in mid lane, also going to help with the Rift Herald as well as Jarvan coming up mid to help with that, getting that second tower of the game as they take the tower. Vigar now heavy damage, so he's gonna be able to take out that Rift Herald no problem. But managing to take a tower with it is still a really good well play for really well played there for Wolfe County. Gary's now moving up into lane after being forced to after that pretty rough fight that him and Vi tried to engage there to stop that Rift Herald from being taken. Braum now back. Braum and Kai'Sa now both have backed. We see Alistar going to remove some wards in the Dragon Pit, as we might see the first dragon of the game in at least a minute here. Nope, actually no. Jarvan's going to move up towards top side. I'm going to go for that red buff. Xerath farming mid lane, managing to avoid all the Vigar stuns pretty easily. We see Irelia now rotating down towards bot side. We do have Henry Clay does have vision of Irelia at this point. We see Braum managing to throw the W or the Q there, missing it on Irelia. Irelia clearing a control ward out of Tribush. Xerath and Jarvan now also rotating down towards bot side. We might see our first team fight of the game here as Irelia goes in, managing to throw the stun, not connecting with anybody, sadly. Alistar managing to dodge a Braum Q. Was going in with the engage with Vi on Vi. Vi going for the dash. We see an Irelia ult over the wall. Jarvan following suit. Xerath managing to secure the kill with his W. Irelia hitting her stun, not managing to finish off anybody. We see a Xerath ulti coming in. He's going to be able to land one of his ults. Two of his ults. 2 out of 4 of his ults managing to connect with Braum. As Irelia manages to land a stun on Kai'Sa, forcing herself dashing, getting connected, clipped on though by the edge of that Veigar stun, which is rough. If that Veigar stun didn't connect, I would assume that Irelia would have had a pretty easy double kill right there at that last little bit with how low that Braum was. We see a Xerath getting bursted down as he walks into the stun from Veigar, as well as tanking that QW combo and a W from Kai'Sa. So a little rough of a fight there, as Darius pushing top lane now without any resistance, manages to secure a tower. That roam from Irelia was not as beneficial as I assume Wolfe was expecting, given the fact that that trade only they lost the tower in that process. Irelia now teleporting top lane to have to try and stop Darius from pushing. So far it looks like it's gonna be pretty. Let's check the farm real quick. You see Darius now about a 10 CS lead over Irelia in the top lane. You see Jarvan and we see Vi with about a 10 CS lead as well in the jungle. Xerath down about 20 CS, about 25 CS versus Veigar in the mid lane. Bot lane's about even. Sivir's down about 10. So overall, CS lead is generally in favor of Henry Clay. The gold difference is really close, though. It's only about 300 or 400 gold off, and it's been like that for about the last 10 minutes at least. So Wolfe County and Henry Clay managing to stick onto each other very well, keeping that gold balance pretty even. So good on both teams there for managing to have that gold. See Irelia now packing off from top lane, having the wave push. Darius moving towards mid lane as Xerath, Jarvan, and Alistar move towards mid lane. We see Vi coming in from the side, getting Darius landing the pull as well as the come. We see forcing Jarvan to flash. Alistar coming in with that knock up. Irelia dashing to the side, getting hit by the Irelia or the Veigar stun, taking so much damage as Veigar just shreds her down. Which Irelia would be able to do a lot more, but that Veigar stun on her just is way too much for her to deal with. See Vi coming with the ult. Jarvan coming with the ult as well to stop Veigar, managing to give the kill to Xerath. Braum with the ulti. So we see a Veigar W. We see Darius managing to get the ult off. A double kill ult on Alistar and Xerath. Jarvan had being forced back under side tower, managing to not get included, giving Darius that triple kill. As Henry Clay groups up and manages to secure their second tower. We see Darius, Braum, and Kai'Sa now moving towards Dragon. They're going to try and go for that first drag of the game. Be Cloud Drake. Wolfe County having to back off, be a little defensive now. As Irelia's got to go top lane to defend. Jarvan backing to heal up. Alistar respawning in. Xerath as well. Both coming here respawning back in as Henry Clay manages to get the first dragon. The gold difference now, though, a pretty big difference in favor of Henry Clay. About a 3,000 gold lead. About 2,500 gold lead in favor of Henry Clay. Irelia pushed up pretty heavily now back in the top lane, getting a really easy push up there. Vi in her topside jungle going for her blue buff. As Xerath returns to his lane now to farm up. Managing to close the gap a little bit on that gold. We see a Irelia, Jarvan moving up towards Vi. Vi going for that dash. Irelia missing the stun as Vi able to get her dash off and get away. Alistar and Sivir moving towards mid lane as well. Kai'Sa and Braum also moving up away from bot side with that wave pushed onto Wolfe County's bot lane tower. Xerath managing to connect another Q there. Braum missing a Q. We might see another team fight here in a second, as with the entirety of Henry Clay's now mid lane. Wolfe County also converging mid lane, as both teams are now completely in mid lane. We might see another team fight here in a second. Xerath like connecting a Q there on Braum and Xerath on Veigar. That range definitely in his favor. Vi now on the bot side. So it is currently a 4 versus 5 in the mid lane. Alistar getting trapped inside the Vigar thing, forcing him to flash out of the Vigar stun. Sivir ulting as Jarvan goes with the Q-dash combo. Vigar flashing away from it. Jarvan smiting Vigar as Vigar throws up his stun, managing to get away without any problem. A little rough there. Wolfcane definitely did not do anything very good in that engage. Jarvan losing his flash as well as its ultimate, but Vigar managing to, or just for Vigar's flash. We see a flash from Sivir as the stun is landed on Vi. We see a Vigar ulti coming in, or an E coming. We see Darius. We see Aurelia with that dash from the side. Aurelia throwing the ulti. Braum getting to connect that ult with her as Darius comes in with the kill, securing a double kill on both Aurelia and Jarvan with that ulti. Again, Darius is now becoming a major issue for Wolfcane. They're going to have to prioritize taking him down because at the moment he's got a 550 gold bounty on his head. So that'd be a big cash investment for Wolfcane. They managed to shut him down. Xerath lands an E there as well as a WQ. All three of his abilities just doing a crazy amount of damage to Braum. So Xerath is one of the more damage dealers on the team at this point. Currently being 3-1 as well. So we also have bot side being pushed pretty heavily by the minions for Henry Clay as the top side is being pushed back too. So Wolfcane is going to have to definitely watch out both sides. We see Xerath with that ult. Is he going to go for another one as he manages to not secure a kill with that ulti? Vi and Darius backing in lane as well as Braum. Vigar moved in his jungle, also backing. Jarvan now moving towards his bot side jungle again, going for the blue buff. As Sivir goes to clear some wolf camp, get that extra gold, and Alistar move both towards mid lane. Aurelia moving down towards a bot lane, or the top side jungle, going through. Darius going for that, for Vi's wolf camp, an extra farm. Wolfcane now all converging back towards mid lane as Henry Clay moves towards the mid. Braum and Darius moving up towards topside jungle. Going to go potentially probably drop a ward in Baron as they do so. Kai'Sa taking red buff from bot side jungle from Vi. We see Braum, Vigar, and Darius potentially waiting for another team fight to engage. Vigar moving on dangerously close into the. We see Darius with his. We see the stun thrown from there. We see the Vi ulting. We see a two-man stun from Aurelia there. The Q from Darius. We see an ult from we see Jarvan dashing in. Vi tank ulting. We see an ult. Okay, we see Sivir got the kill on Vi. Braum ulting Alistar. Darius managing to get that Q, doing a huge amount of damage onto Sivir. An exhaust from Braum. Managing to land that Q as well. As Kai'Sa is going to secure a double kill. The score is currently 16-10 with an 8,000 gold lead in favor of Henry Clay, as well as having a tower. They're now going to go for that Baron. As Henry Clay is going to be able to secure the Baron. They're all now going to decide to back. And going to go push a lane pretty hard. They might actually be going for another dragon or another Drake here. Where Wolfcane's going to have to play pretty defensively. They might be able to secure a Drake without any contesting from Wolf County. Darius moving out towards top side. As it does look like they are moving towards Baron Pit, or Dragon Pit. We see Kai'Sa throwing that W over the wall. Engaging aggro from the Drake as Vi moves in. And the all of minus Darius going for that dragon. We see Jarvan coming in, looking like he was going to go for it, but decided to change his mind where there were 4 people there. That was not something that he wanted to get into. Xerath also moving away, going back towards his mid lane, going through bot side river, or bot side jungle. Darius now pushing uncontested top lane. Xerath pushed pretty heavily up alone in mid lane by going for the red buff steal from Jarvan. As Wolfcane is all now converged mid lane already, going towards top lane though to defend from the pushing Darius, who is at this point a real big threat. The 700 gold bounty on him, getting 7 and 4. Jarvan managing to hit the dash. We see going ulting over the wall onto Vygar, getting ulted on by Vi, as Vi secures the kill. Xerath ulting from downtown. Vygar using a stopwatch as Xerath secures the kill. We see a stun from Irelia as he goes in to take the kill on Vygar. We see another ult from Darius. Kai'Sa ulting in onto Irelia as Irelia dashes over the wall, managing to get away to safety. Xerath having backed off as well. So Irelia teleporting onto her mid lane tower. So far, this is not looking very promising in favor of Wolfgang at this point. Darius now backs in his top side as Wolfgang pushes up, defending mid lane inhibitor tower from falling. Kai'Sa going towards bot side, going to push that lane up even further, try and get a side lane pushed up. It's the only side lane that isn't pushed up. Vygar goes to secure blue buff. You see Darius pushing towards bot lane. Vi also following suit, coming towards bot lane. Braum coming mid, probably going to meet up with Vygar as Kai'Sa also is backed. Jarvan now backs after claiming his red buff, and goes back to Fountain. Xerath pushed up in lane pretty heavily by himself. He might need to back off. He's in dangerous territory without anyone help from his team. If he gets caught by a Vygar stone there, he's gonna die. So Darius now pushes towards bot side. Gonna try and push for that second bot side tower. As Xerath, Alistar, and Jarvan are now pushed up towards mid lane, trying to defend that tower from being taken. You see Aurelia now top side as well, backing after pushing that wave back. All of Henry Clay now converging on the bot lane turret. Well, no, we see Vi and Darius now going for that bot lane turret again for that heavy push on that side lane. Braum, Kai'Sa, and Vygar are now staying mid lane, having that push pretty far. Braum connecting a Q on Jarvan there. We see a stun coming in. Vygar getting connected by the stun, as well as W just taking almost half of his health away, and that one ability is crazy. The tower does fall to Henry Clay. Vi dashes over the wall, but not going to be able to follow up with anything as Sivir was out of range. Another tower is taken. Henry Clay taking bot lane tower. It's currently 8 towers to 3 in favor of Henry Clay. Stun connecting onto Vi from over the wall from Xerath. See Darius coming in, going to try and do some heavy damage to that tower. We see Vi dashing in over the wall as well, going for that inhibitor. Xerath getting it hit, taking some damage, managing to dodge that stun though. As Henry Clay just pushes up into town, taking inhibitor, and after inhibitor, Alistar trying to do anything, can't hold back. I really getting caught in the stun, but not going to be able to do any damage, so they backed off. Henry Clay now backs into mid lane. Them now having been able to push like that is going to give Henry Clay a massive advantage in terms of map dominance. They're going to be able to go and take the entirety of the jungle camps, as well as let all those lanes push up and be able to just secure even more dominance over the map at this point. Wolfgang now pushes in the top lane, trying to get one of those side lanes pushed back out. Have a little bit of pressure taken off of them. We see some action movement going towards the Baron pit. Might be looking to get ready for another Baron from Henry Clay. Actually, no, they're moving towards Dragon as Kai'Sa and Braum are going to try and solo the Drake. This one being a Mountain Drake. Another Drake secured. Only 3 Drakes in this game so far. 2 Mountains and a Cloud Drake in favor of Henry Clay, as they now go moving towards Baron. Baron now is spawned as Henry Clay goes to secure the second Baron of the game. Wolfgang again having to stay and play very defensively, trying to push these waves back as they secure the Baron. This might be a good point for Henry Clay to now just push up and try to end the game all in one good push right here, as it looks like Henry Clay is now going to do so. They're all moving towards mid lane together. Wolfe County in their base having to defend, now having to deal with the entirety of Henry Clay pushing up with Baron buff as well. Vi dashes in, going to try and take some minions there. Zerath pushes back from the side, managing to get away from the Vygar stun. Darius pulling Jarvan into the stun, getting ulted onto by Darius. We see a Q connecting on two people. Darius managed to secure double kill on Zerath. We see the Q combo. We see a Alistar kite and Jarvan and Vygar secure a kill. Sivir runs away as he's not going to be able to do anything as Wolfe County is taken down and Henry Clay manages to secure the Baron. So that's another. That's the first loss. The first real loss this season for Wolfe County.
Loss, yeah.
The first official loss this season for Wolfe County.
Put it back. There's two.
Yeah.
Go tell him. You want to tell him?
Yeah. Do you want to?
All right. We'll be back in just a few minutes for round number 2 between Wolves Blue and Henry Clay.